Hare Krishna, my friends. Dandavata pranams. Welcome to Bhaktiville. Last week we started to read Brahma Samhita. We didn't get too far because we had so many technical difficulties, but now we'll see if we're straightened out. We did last week listen to Srila Prabhupada giving an introduction, and we read the first two paragraphs of the foreword of the Brahma Samhita. So tonight, let's continue. So let me offer my obeisances. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani. And please accept my obeisances. Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. And we'll sing a little bit of Jaya Radha Madhava. I don't have my kartals. I'm not at home tonight, so I forgot to bring my kartals, so I'll just clap my hands and we'll see if you can hear that. All right? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Channa Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjan Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Pannachari Jamuna Tira Pannachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. I'll stop there. Like I mentioned, I'm not at home, and while I was singing, a cat jumped up and decided to drink from my water cup. I'm house sitting for my daughter. Okay, so we are reading from the Vedabase tonight, and we got to the second paragraph of Srila Prabhupada's foreword to, it's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati who wrote this. So we got to the first two paragraphs of this. Last week we listened to Srila Prabhupada read part of it, and every time I hear materialistic demeanor, I know this is what he's talking about. All right, so I will go ahead and start reading. The first hymn will establish the supremacy of the absolute truth if his substratum is not shot by the bullets of limited time, ignorance, and uncomfortable feeling, as well as by recognizing the same as an effect instead of accepting him as the prime cause. He will be satisfied to mark that the object of their determination is the par excellent Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who has eternally embodied himself in his ever-presence, all-blissful, all-pervasive, perfective knowledge as the very fountainhead of all prime causes of unending, non-beginning time, the supplying fosterer of all entities, these mundane and transcendental. Hang on, I've got too many sounds going on here in Second Life, so let me turn off those sounds. I can hear elephants and birds and everything else. All right, I've turned them all off. Sorry about that. All right, let me continue. The subsequent lines will go to determine the different aspects of the Absolute, who are but emanations of the Supreme Fountainhead Krishna, the attractive entity of all entities. Moreover, the derivative proclamation of the nomenclature will indicate the plane of uninterrupted, unending, transcendental felicity, and the nomenclature himself is the source of the two components which go by the names of efficient and material causes. The very transcendental name Krishna is known as the embodiment of all the transcendental eternal rasas, as well as the origin of all eclipsed conceptions of interrupted rasas found in the mentality of animated beings, which are successfully depicted by literateurs and rhetoricians of our mundane speculation. The verses of Brahma Samhita are a full elucidation of the origination of phenomenal and pneumenic conceptions. Pneumenic. The hymns of the incarnated prime potency has dealt fully with the monotheistic speculations of different schools, which are busy to give an outer cover of an esoteric concoction without any reference to the true eternal aspect of transcendental, non-transformable, and imperishable manifestation of the immanent. The hymns have also dealt with different partial aspects of the personality of the Absolute, who is quite isolated from the conception of the enjoyers of this phenomenal world. A very close attention and a comparative study of all prevailing thoughts and conceptions will relieve and enlighten all, be he materialistic, a downright atheist, an agnostic, a skeptic, a naturalist, a pantheist, or a pantheist, busy with their knowledge of three dimensions only by their speculative exertions. So he's just listed all of the prevailing philosophies at the time, and we don't really hear about these by these names anymore. But atheist we know, agnostic we know, skeptic we know, naturalist we know, pantheist we know. I had to look up pantheist. So pantheist is a person who believes that the world is the soul of God. And if the world changes, then God changes. So he's saying, this, how can that be? How can this be? Anyway, let me move on. This booklet is only the 5th chapter of the hymns of Brahma, which were recorded in 100 chapters. The Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya picked up this chapter from the temple of Adi Keshava at Tiruvattar, a village lying under the government of Travancore, for the assurance of all God-loving and especially Krishna-loving people in this conditioned jurisdiction. This booklet can easily be compared with another book which passes by the name of Srimad Bhagavatam. Though it has got a reference in the pantheon of Puranas, the Bhagavatam corroborates the same idea of this Pancharatra. So I think we have on the board, let me see if I can flip through here, the pictures. We did that. Brahma Samhita. Bhakti, I cannot see the pictures. I can see the edge of the pictures. Is this the temple? It's on, yes. Okay, so this is the temple. Because I'm at my daughter's, I forgot to bring all of my computer stuff, and so I can't rotate my, oh, there, I can rotate. Okay, yes, so there's the temple. There's the temple that Lord Chaitanya went to and found the Brahma Samhita at. And here's its location on the map. I like that Google Maps told me how many steps it is. All right, so let me continue reading. The devotees should consider that these two books, the Bhagavatam and Brahma Samhita, tend to the identical Krishna, who is the fountainhead of all transcendental and mundane entities, and has a manifested exhibition of the plenary variegatedness. Aspersions of calumniation are restricted in the limited world, whereas transcendence cannot admit such angularities, being an angle of 180 degrees or void of any angular discrepancy. So he's saying it's straight line. There's no problem with this. The publisher is carried away to the realm of gratitude, where his stores of publication are scrutinized. Thakur Bhaktiville has given an elucidatory purport of the conception of the most sublime fountainhead of all entities in Bengali, and one of his devout followers has rendered that into English for propagatory purpose. So Thakur Bhaktiville is this author's father. The purports and the translations are traced to the backgrounds of the writings of Srila Jiva Goswami, a contemporary follower of the Supreme Lord of Sri Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. The emotional aspirations, all of a sudden, my computer is playing the music from our Bhaktiville. I think whenever it turns to a new song, all of my buttons turn off. All right, sorry about that. The emotional aspirations will find fair play in perusing the text of this brochure by one and all who have any interest in pure theistic achievements. The materialistic inspection often goes on to say that the provincial conception of theism has made the depicting of transcendental unity into diverse faiths quite opposed to the ethical consideration of the limited region. But we differ from such erroneous considerations when we get a perspective view of the manifested transcendentality emanating all historicities and allegorical enterprises. All our enjoying mood should have a different direction when we take into account the transcendental entity who has obsessed all frailties and limitations of nature. So we solicit the happier mood of the scrutinizers to pay special attention to the importance of manifested transcendence in Krishna. So he's saying here that, it just is so, his English is, this was written almost 100 years ago, and he was very scholarly and very educated. So he's trying to appeal to those same people that he is in England, or of the English-speaking ilk. So he's saying here in this paragraph that all of the conceptions that are out there just aren't enough. They don't tell enough about God. And so here we can find everything about God here in the Brahma Samhita. Because, as you recall, this is Lord Brahma speaking this text, or it's not text, but he's saying these prayers to Krishna right there. Krishna's right there in front of him. He was just born, and he's meditated all these millions of years, and these are his realizations. So he has a full concept of Krishna. And so here in this Brahma Samhita, we'll learn what his realizations, at least in this chapter, what his realizations are. So let me continue. It was found necessary to publish this small book for the use of English-knowing people who are interested in the acme of transcendental truths in their manifested phases. The theme delineated in the text of this book is quite different from the ordinary heaps of poetical mundane literature, as they are confined to our limited aspiration of senses. The book was found in the South some 4 centuries ago, and it is again brought into light in the very same country after a long time, just like the worshipping of the goddess Ganges by the offering of her own water. Siddhanta Saraswati, Sri Gaudiya, Calcutta, the 1st of August, 1932. Did you want to add anything to this, Bhaktiville?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm listening happily. Hare Krishna.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. I'm in the database, so I'll move forward. Brahma Samhita, text 1. So I'll sing the first verse. Unfortunately, we will never have Kandita here to sing them after me. So I'll just sing them once all the way through. And this, by the way, is a very good verse to memorize. And I think I've mentioned this before, because this is a very pivotal verse. Ishvaraha Parama Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So usually we don't sing it when we just cite it, we just say it. So I have said this verse before. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So you'll hear people quoting this verse. Synonyms. Ishvaraha, the controller. Paramaha, supreme. Krishnaha, Lord Krishna. Sat, comprising eternal existence. Chit, absolute knowledge. Ananda, and absolute bliss. Vigraha, whose form. Anadihi, without beginning. Adihi, the origin. Govindaha, Lord Govinda. Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Translation. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. All right, purport. Krishna is the exalted supreme entity, having his eternal name, eternal form, eternal attribution, and eternal pastimes. The very name Krishna implies his love-attracting designation, expressing by his eternal nomenclature the acme of entity. So nomenclature just means names, and acme is the topmost. So he's the best. He's the topmost person. His eternal, beautiful, heavenly, blue-tinged body, glowing with the intensity of ever-existing knowledge, has a flute in both his hands. As his inconceivable spiritual energy is all-extending, still he maintains his all-charming medium size by his qualifying spiritual instrumentals. His all-accommodating supreme subjectivity is nicely manifested in his eternal form. The concentrated all-time presence, uncovered knowledge, and inebriating felicity have their beauty in him. The mundane manifested portion of his own self is known as all-pervading Paramatma, Ishvara, Supreme Lord, or Vishnu, all-fostering. Hence, it is evident that Krishna is sole supreme Godhead. His unrivaled or unique spiritual body of super excellent charm is eternally unveiled with innumerable spiritual instrumentals, senses, and unreckonable attributes, keeping their signifying location properly, adjusting at the same time by his inconceivable conciliative powers. This beautiful spiritual figure is identical with Krishna, and the spiritual entity of Krishna is identical with his own figure. The very intensely blended entity of eternal presence of felicitous cognition is the charming, targeted holding or transcendental icon. It follows that the conception of the indistinguishable formless magnitude, Brahman, which is an indolent, lax presentment of cognitive bliss, is merely a penumbra of intensely blended glow of the three concomitants. These visually, the blissful, the substantive, and the cognitive. This transcendental manifestive icon Krishna, in his original face, is primordial background of magnitudinal infinite Brahman, and of all the pervasive oversoul, Krishna, as truly visioned in his variegated pastimes, such as owner of transcendental cows, chief of cowherds, consort of milkmaids, ruler of the terrestrial abode Gokula, and object of worship by transcendental residents of Goloka beauties, is Govinda. He is the root cause of all causes, who are the predominating and predominated agents of the universe. The glance of his projected fractional portion in the sacred originating water, the personal oversoul or Paramatma, gives rise to a secondary potency nature who creates this mundane universe. This oversoul's intermediate energy brings forth the individual souls analogously to the emanated rays of the sun. This book is a treatise of Krishna, so the preamble is enacted by chanting his name at the beginning. Text 2. Anything to say? Bhaktiville? Comments, questions? Nope? Okay. So we move on to the second one. Sahasrapatram kamalam okulakyam mahatpadam tat karnikaram tadhama tad anantam sha sampavam. Synonyms. Sahasrapatra, possessing 1,000 petals. Kamalam, a lotus. Gokula Akyam, known as Gokula. Mahatpadam, the super excellent station. Tat, of that lotus. Karnikaram, the world. Tat, of him, Krishna. Tama, the abode. Tat, that, Gokula. Ananta, of his infinitary aspect, Balaram. Amsha, from a part. Sambhavam, produced. Translation. The spiritual place of transcendental pastimes of Krishna is portrayed in this second verse. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokula, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of a lotus sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whirl of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. Do we have a picture of this? I don't think I posted a picture of this. Nope. No, I don't see it. Okay, so next week I'll remember to post a picture of this. Purport. Gokula, like Goloka, is not created mundane, plain unbounded character forms I think that's not a hyphen. I think that's supposed to, let me read that over. Gokula, like Goloka, is not a created mundane plane. Unbounded character forms the display of its unlimited potency and its propagating manifestation. Baladev is the mainstay of that energy. The transcendental entity of Baladev has two aspects: infinite spiritual manifestation and infinite accommodating space for insentient gross things. The uniquadrantal delineation of material universe will be dealt with within the proper place, so not here. The triquadrantal extensions of the transcendental infinitary field of the Almighty, unlamenting, non-perishing, and non-apprehending unlimited situations of halo, which are fully spiritual, majestic foliation. So he's talking about the whirl, around the lotus. This very majestical extension portrays the manifested, lofty, rich feature of the vaster unlimited region or greater atmosphere, which has its resplendent location wholly beyond the realm of mundane nature, on the further shore of Viraja, surrounded by the halo of Brahman or indistinguishable entity. This majestical power of unlimited spirit emanates on the upper portion of the luminous sphere into the most charming Gokula, or eternally existing Goloka, exceedingly beautified by the assorted display of effulgence. Some designate this region as the abode of the Supreme Narayana, or the original fountainhead. Here, hence, Gokula, which is identical with Goloka, is the supreme plane. The same sphere shines as Goloka and Gokula respectively by its upper or transcendental and lower or mundane situation. I'll finish reading this purport and then I'll explain a little bit. Sri Sanatana Goswami has told us as follows in his Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which embodies the final essence of all the books of instructions. Quote, he displays his pastimes here in this land as he is used to do in Goloka. The difference between the two planes lies only in their locations as high and low. That is, in other words, Krishna plays exactly the same part in Goloka as he exhibits on the mundane plane of Gokula. There is practically no difference between Gokula and Goloka, save that this is what exists in the shape of Goloka in the upper region, is the same as Gokula of the mundane plane, when Krishna showed his various activity there or here. Sri Jiva Goswami has also inculcated the same in the Bhagavad Sandarbha of his 6 treatises, so that'd be the Sat Sandarbha. To ascertain the plane of Goloka Vrindavan is the eternal abode of Krishna, and Goloka and Vrindavan are identically one. And though both are identical, yet Krishna's inconceivable energy has made Goloka the acme of his spiritual kingdom, and Gokula of Mathura province forming a part of the mundane plane, which is also a manifestation of triquadental vibhuti, conducting majesty. Poor human understanding cannot possibly make out how the extensive triquadrantal, I don't even know how to say that word, I think I'm saying it right, quadrantal, which is beyond human comprehension, can be accommodated in the limited nether material universe of a uniquadrantal disclosure. Gokula is a spiritual plane, hence his condescending position in the region of material space, time, etc., is in no way restricted, but unlimitedly manifested with his full boundless propriety. But conditioned souls are apt to assert a material conception in regard to Gokula by their miserable senses, so as to bring him below the level of their intellect. Though the eye of an observer is impeded by a cloud when gazing at the sun, and though the tiny cloud can never really cover the sun, still the clouded vision apparently observes the sun as covered by the cloud. In just the same way, the conditioned souls, with their obscured intelligence, senses, and decisions, accept Gokula as a piece of measurable land. So I'm going to interrupt. I was going to wait till the end, but this is going on too far. So Gokula is Krishna's pastimes here on earth. So Gokula we think of as Vrindavan and Mathura. So, but Goloka is the place where the pastimes are happening eternally. That space in outer space where Krishna and the gopis and all of his friends and everybody are living right now. So Loka means planet, and Go means cow. So the planet of the cows is how I think of it. So Loka, planet, and that's how I can distinguish between the two. Kula is here, so here with the cows, but Loka is Krishna's planet, where he is. So when he talks about Gokula, he's talking about here, Vrindavan, when Krishna was here in Vrindavan during his pastimes on this planet. So let me just read this one sentence over again. Two sentences. Though the eye of an observer is impeded by a cloud when gazing at the sun, and though the tiny cloud can never really cover the sun, still the clouded vision apparently observes the sun as covered by the cloud. In just the same way, the conditioned souls, with their obscured intelligence, senses, and decisions, accept Gokula here as a piece of measurable land. We can see Gokula from Goloka, which is eternal. This is also a mystery. The attainment of final beatitude is the success in attaining one's eternal self. The success in identifying the true self is finally achieved when the screen of gross and subtle coils of conditioned souls is removed by the sweet will of Krishna. However, the idea of Goloka is seen to differ from Gokula till the success in unalloyed devotion is achieved. The transcendental plane of infinite spiritual manifestation, having thousands of petals and corolla like those of the lotus, is Gokula, the eternal abode of Krishna. All right, so if you're not completely confused by this whole purport, don't feel bad. Let me explain a little bit of it. So the whole cosmic manifestation, there are two sections. There's the material section, which is where we live, and the spiritual section, where Krishna and everybody else lives. So it's said that this material manifestation is 1/4 of everything. It's a very small, pretty minor section of the whole created universe. But Krishna comes to every planet and brings his friends with him and exhibits his pastimes. So that's how we know all these stories about Krishna, because he was here on this planet 5,000 years ago, and it was written down and seen by different people, and they've written it down. So we have this collection of stories and Srimad Bhagavatam, the Puranas, the Vedas as a whole, to tell us about all of these things. So that's what he's alluding to, or that's what he's talking about here. But at the very end of this purport, he says, the attainment of final beatitude is the success in attaining one's eternal self. So he's saying that success is when you understand who you are as an eternal spiritual entity, and you know your relationship with Krishna, and then you can enjoy or understand or imbibe or feel or however you want to express that prema, the love of Krishna. Once you're a part of that, once you are unalloyed, and as we've spoken before, unalloyed means it's not an alloy, it's pure. Unalloyed means not an alloy, but an alloy is a mixture of things. So we want a pure, pure. Once you are pure, and you have no more of these, he did allude to some of the conditioned souls with their obscured intelligence, senses, and decisions. So once that's kind of out of the way, and we have the success of unalloyed devotion, then we can see all of these things. Once the gross and subtle coils are removed, then the idea of Goloka is seen, and we have no problems in understanding. Let me just read that verse. It says this was such a very thick, terse purport. Let me read the verse. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokula here, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of a lotus, sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whirl of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. So I'll find that drawing and post it here next week so that you can have a kind of a visual understanding of what he's talking about. Any questions, Bhaktiville, or are you dumbfounded?
I'm dumbfounded, but at the same time, I get what's going on. Some of the specific details, the words he uses to like tri-quadrantal, are how the extensive tri-quadrantal, which is beyond human comprehension. Well, he says that
There
that's
it
probably why I
is.
don't understand it. Yes.
I'm not real sure what he's talking about there. I think he might be talking about uh, goodness, passion, and ignorance, but I'm not sure.
Hmm. He uses
Yeah,
the word he um, he calls it conducting majesty. That's another one. But that's vibhuti.
right.
Or he may mean tri-quadrantal vibhuti. You know who'd be a good person to ask that question?
I will go
Tripurari.
back. Yes, it's true. Oh, he would. He's very good at all that. But my notes are not here. My notes are back at my apartment. So, but I will go back through
Oh,
this.
it's not a. That's just one example. I mean, I just picked that one out. The writing is like that. Um, well, he talks about tri-quadrantal extensions of the transcendental infinitary field of the Almighty. So interesting.
Yes, yes, it's quite scholarly.
Yes, but
I
that
was
makes it.
able.
That's good though.
It's good. It really stretches our thinking,
Hmm.
And the thing, and I think I've mentioned this before too, that trying to describe something that's indescribable
Yes.
is very difficult.
Yes.
Um, so he's working it. You know, he's trying to explain this unexplainable. Oh, there's the picture. It's right there on the box. It's on the Srimad Bhagavatam box.
That's the.
Can you, that's the picture I'm thinking of. Oh, can you zoom in on that?
Is it that? Is it? That's the one that's on the board now too, isn't it?
Do we have it on the board? I don't
You
think so.
moved it. It was just there. It's
No,
the
no,
same
I
as the
have
box. Well, I think.
no,
There.
not the Brahma Samhita box, the Srimad Bhagavatam box, right next to it, with the big lotus and the Krishna in the middle and all the planets around.
Oh, okay. Yes. Isn't that the
Oh,
cover of of? Yes, it's the cover of
yeah,
Srimad
it's the cover of
Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what he's talking about. Is that?
Oh, the lotus is what he's talking about.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
The
and that
lotus.
lotus is. It's
Yes,
to dive into each of those lotuses is infinite in themselves. What
yes,
this is just from a certain perspective.
yes, yes. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much. If anyone listens to this, I apologize for my inability to explain all of these things.
And I think people are missing out. I wish they could come. I think it's worth hearing you say this, and um, we need more people. I mean, I'm fine like this. I just wish more people got to hear you read this. It's such a wonderful book. So, anyway, Hare
such a
Krishna, thank you very
such a
much.
it's such a great text. I mean, Brahma did the same with prayers after he, saw the cowherd boys. He apologized and gave all these prayers, and those prayers are also phenomenal. Maybe we should read
And
those
aren't
prayers.
those? Isn't that in Sri Krishna book?
Yeah, it's in Bhagavatam. Yeah,
Oh, I
it's in
thought it
the
was in,
10th.
okay, okay, the 10th
Yeah,
canto. Right. I remember.
but they are equally terse or full like this. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.